was very passionate. I would cry after every win, after every loss. I would wear my heart on my sleeve.
Hi, I'm Nate Clarke, CEO of GoTyme Bank, an avid football fan. Today, I have the privilege of hosting this special episode of Speaking of Money podcast, where we explore the beautiful stories behind success. And today, I'm joined by two stars of the Philippines national football team, center midfielder Manny Ott and center back Amani Aguinaldo. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Good. All right. So before we dive into football, I'm interested. Name one other thing at the moment that you are obsessed about, not including football.
I'd say for me, it's books. I love to read, and I spend as much free time as I could reading.
So what are you reading at the moment, out of curiosity?
Oh, right now, it's a book called Gulag Archipelago. And it's quite dark, actually. It's about concentration camps back in the days of the Soviet Union, but it's about history too.
No, yeah, I was sitting next to Amani, so he was reading his book and I was learning Tagalog. I'm trying to learn more because I've been now married also to a Filipina, my mom, and yeah, I just want to learn Tagalog to understand it better.
Okay, one of the things we did before the podcast is we went into Google and looked up what are the most searched things around both of you. So I'm actually going to answer the fans' most common questions. So Manny Ott, you are half Filipino and half blank.
German.
Amani, what's your current team? I'm assuming this is because maybe you've switched a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, almost every year I switch teams. Now I'm playing for DPMM in Brunei. It's a club based in Brunei, but we're playing in the Malaysian League.
What do football players eat before a game? So maybe, do you have any rituals before the game of what you eat?
Yeah, I'm eating way different than Amani's eating. It's probably the healthiest on the team, but mostly it's just carbs and protein. So rice, pasta, chicken.
Yeah, pretty much the same. You have to have your good amount of carbohydrates before the game to load up on fuel and some protein.
One of the things I love about listening to podcasts, whether it's athletes or entrepreneurs, is hearing how it all started. So both of you have like a 1 in a million journey. You've kind of made it to the top representing your country. So I'd love to hear, when did you realize when you were young, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to be a professional footballer.
Well, being a professional football player is more like an afterthought in my case.
Really?
Because growing up in the Philippines, we don't really have, or back in the day, we didn't have a professional league that we could watch on TV or we were exposed to. So for me, I just really enjoyed playing. I loved the game early on, and it's just one thing led to another. And as I grew older, started playing with better players. I just realized that, I can actually make this a career and I can, make money from it.
What age do you think you were when you were like, wow, this is a viable career? Or
I was maybe in high school.
Oh, wow. So quite late.
Quite late, yeah. There wasn't that dream or that goal that, I want to be a professional footballer in this team or that team. Yeah. I just genuinely enjoyed playing.
It's not too much different of Amani's story. I mean, I originally played football starting when I was young because I lived in the city before and then we moved outside. So when we moved, we lived near the football field. So it was just behind my house. Yeah, that was basically how it started. So I was there all day just to make friends. And then it progressed to being on actually I'm not bad at it, So I just got sucked in also. It wasn't like, I dreamt of being a football player. It was just something that came by accident of making friends, So, obviously when you get older, I got better and then I got selected for some teams. So I was lucky enough or fortunate enough to get into some youth development programs and just progress from there.
So did you play in the development leagues in Germany?
Yeah, so I grew up there. I went through a lot of youth programs there and then ended up making a choice to come back to the Philippines at 23, 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you, like, what was the development programs like back then in the Philippines?
Well, mostly school-based competitions, and
Is
then
this
the
in
national.
you grew up in Davao, right? Is
I grew up in, I started my journey in Manila,
Okay.
and then I lived in Cebu. I also played for a school team there, and then we moved to Davao.
Okay.
And in Davao, I was chosen to represent the school, regional,
team.
and then to represent the region at the national level. And then I was selected to play for the youth national teams. And
Can you think of a game you were playing, whether you were 10 or 14, when you just dominated?
We had one game where there was a scout, so I was just playing for fun, you know, and then there was a scout coming to my parents after the game and being like, oh yeah, we would want to invite him to be either the Bayern Academy or 1860 Academy.
Oh, wow.
So that's, I think, when I first realized, I was like, oh, actually, I'm not that bad, apparently, in other people's eyes. So yeah, so that was the first time where I was
Very
like,
cool.
yeah, that's cool.
well, for me, I can't really recall any particular game or moment that I felt like I was amazing that game or I dominated. I just knew, like, back then that I was really competitive. I found out like that thing about myself, and that I was very passionate. I would cry after every win, after every loss. I would wear my heart on my sleeve, and it was just like a kid's game,
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm interested, when you were growing up, were there any folks in your family or otherwise that were naysayers? Like, as you were like, okay, I want to go for this, I want to be a professional footballer, or anyone in the family saying, hey, why don't you do something more stable, or, this is such a long shot?
Not really. Actually, they were like the ones who were really supportive. I think for me, like, I wouldn't be here without my parents, like, they've been very, very supportive and like dropping us off at every game, coming with us to trainings, like, I have two other brothers, so they had to split up to make it for each other's game days on the weekends. So I don't think there was any no-sayers. I mean, there's always people who have like doubts or maybe don't want you to succeed in a way, but fortunately for me, I was like, my parents and my family was very supportive.
same for me. I'm very fortunate that I have a very supportive family who has been and still are
So
supportive.
they weren't pushing you away from this
No,
dream?
They're very
That's
supportive.
amazing.
I'm very
That's amazing.
fortunate.
I'm sure you've been through many ups and downs, but what would say is one that you could share is a really tough moment, hardest part of your career so far, and where you really needed to lean on them?
There's a lot of hard parts, like you have seasons where maybe things are not going well, then you're faced with setbacks, with injuries, like, fortunately enough, I haven't had super really big injuries, but like I broke my tibia at one point. I had
That's not big.
syndesmosis, yeah. So it which didn't really require surgery. So
okay.
my parents and my wife and my brothers always have been there at the moments which most people don't see, like
The tough,
especially with injuries. So yeah, they're the ones who were there. So just fortunate and thankful for them.
It's always family, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
always
like
family.
the closest ones,
So, sorry if I can't, single out any individual. But it's a
It
team.
is
But your
really,
family's been there from the
Family's
beginning, like you
always,
said. They always supported you.
Yes, and I'm very lucky, grateful to them for that.
Any particular moment you remember was hard for in your career?
I've had a lot of injuries, unfortunately. So I think
What was the worst one?
I had an ACL injury. I've got a couple of MCL injuries in both knees.
Okay.
And broke my nose, broke something. So that's just the life of an athlete. Yeah.
Now we're going to change gears a bit, go over to finances. So from football to finances, what were some of the biggest financial sacrifices you or the family had to make to get to the national level where you are today?
I think choosing to play for the national team or choosing football as a career is a sacrifice in and of itself, because it's not not the most stable career
Yeah.
that you.
And this is not the EPL or La Liga, right?
Exactly.
In terms of pay?
So I would say that. Well, of course, it's not like a sacrifice that I can really quantify or can.
Yeah.
But it's that for me.
I would jump on that, what Amani said, like, especially if you, like my parents had to pay for my cleats at the time, when you were young, spending money on gasoline and whatever to make it to the games, to bring you to training. So like there's a lot of effort and finances involved also for at a level where you're not making yet money, especially when you're a kid, the parents supporting. And then I think when we started national team, especially for me when I was still in Europe, like funding wasn't that great yet. So sometimes my parents had to come up with money to send you to national teams, so like, yeah, that's a thing. Like it comes from your parents' pocket where you're not yet having a clue of what they're spending, but like someone is always spending for your kids' dreams to succeed. Yeah,
it seems to be a big problem, not just in the Philippines, but even my home country, the U.S. I was reading the other day that there was someone senior in the federation saying that one of the biggest challenges they think in American football to go to the next level is it's way too expensive when you're younger.
It is really like, I think like in Europe, we're fortunate enough that the government is really putting money in, making it more accessible for people to have access to football facilities, I think the biggest challenge is when you're living somewhere and you don't have access. Like imagine driving an hour away every day, committed for your kid to have like a better education or like better facilities to have, to learn better things. So that is, I think, the most crucial thing in sports now, to have like good facilities near you around.
It's not just that, there's a lot of things involved. You need special equipment. You need, football boots.
Yes.
You need shin pads. You need a pitch, bigger pitch. Like in the Philippines, we like basketball, right?
Yes.
You just need like 2 hoops, a basketball. You could play you could play in your slippers.
Yes.
And in football, you can't really do that, So yeah, playing football means, spending money. There are a lot of costs involved and a lot of sacrifices to be made too.
You guys are, as we mentioned earlier, you're the veterans now. You've been around for a while. How has your approach to saving and investing in finances changed in the last 10, 15 years?
My parents always taught me to save up whatever you're making. So I'm very, very, very conservative in that way. Probably my wife would, if she would look at it, she's like, yep, nodding her head. But I think like when you're young, you're just trying to save money a lot, and then when you get older, you're starting to see things differently, see maybe opportunities where you didn't think before when you're younger. Like you're more open to finding new solutions or investments or stuff. So I think like your awareness changes, and then obviously but luckily through my parents, like they always said, like don't spend on unnecessary stuff. So like I just really tried on saving up, but the investment part is the difficult one, to find like something which is really tailored to you, like which you also understand at a point. Like that's the most important thing. Not like you just put your money in it, but you don't know what it is, what it does.
As I've gotten older, I do admit that I feel the financial pressure more, especially we're in a profession, in a field that we have a very limited earning horizon, and a limited shelf life. So to speak. So we have to think about what we're going to do.
What's next?
What's next? Like we're not playing the Premier League, we're being real here. So we really have to think of the future, of what it will take to sustain the lifestyle that we have now, and extend it beyond our playing careers.
If someone is struggling either with financials or self-belief in general, what advice would you give to a young person, or anyone really?
Believe in yourself. You have to always believe in yourself. And if you don't know or if you don't know anything, or if you're stuck, then ask advice from people who know better and who've been there before, and just be curious and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's great advice.
That's probably the best.
I think it comes down to educating oneself about what's out there and making the right decisions.
So you guys qualify for AFC. You leave the improving the investment options and simplicity to
definitely.
But maybe back to football. So earlier we touched on some of the lows and how your family came in to help push through those lows. But you guys both have had amazing long careers. If you were to pick one moment of a high, what would it be?
Probably when we qualified for Asian Cup for the first time. That was probably the best feeling.
Against Tajikistan? Was it in 2019?
Yeah, when we had the win against North Korea also, and then we qualified with winning against Tajikistan. Like, that was pretty big. No, I just remember when we won it, and it was like a special bunch of people, like we still had Patino there, Phil and James were part of it, like having the struggles where national team when we started isn't the same what it is now. It's like more exposed, has better organization. Like
it's a shared experience at the end of the day. You shared your struggles, you were together during the hard times, and to have a taste of success, of achieving something, of winning together as well.
Yeah,
is very beautiful.
Like, we've had a group who've been stuck for a while, with things.
Never broken through to the AFC.
Yeah, so like for us, despite having all the challenges, to have a good team, locker room, and then qualifying for like the first time in history in Filipino football, like that was like something nobody can take away from us.
So take me back to maybe the earlier years when you were playing in the national team. What was it? What was different to today?
Wow, starting with flights and journeys. Like now, the young guys have it good. They fly better airlines or have like just a one stop over. We would have had troubles for 30 hours,
shoestring budget.
Yeah, like we would go to games with another stop, and
some would even have to like pay for flights for their hotels.
Oh, you were still funding your own travel back then.
I like
was that aspect too.
Go somewhere and the airport closes at night,
Yeah, to sleep in the airport, sleep outside the airport, wait for it to open.
Okay.
So
that's what made it that much better in 2019 when you kind of broke through.
Training facilities, obviously, we trained before everywhere.
There was always something.
Yeah.
There was always something.
Always.
So as you get towards the back end of your second half of your careers, you're still young though. You're still a lot younger than me.
Thank you.
You might be old for football, but you're young. You're young in life. So what's the next big dream? Maybe starting with you, Amani.
I'm looking to grow and to, I wouldn't say fulfill my potential or anything like that, although that's very welcome.
Yeah.
I'm looking to grow in different ways that, I previously thought I couldn't. Maybe if I can't play anymore, hopefully I can still play, even after my professional career. I want to discover what else, I have in me and apply what I've learned throughout my career to maybe different areas or different domains in my life that I'm interested in, and, maybe educate myself in finance and, I look for solutions to the problems that I see in football, in the Philippines especially.
Okay.
And
so do you think you're going to end up staying in the realm of football, or do you think you're going to pivot and go totally different?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
still too early.
It's still too early to tell, but I'll definitely find out sooner rather than later.
I probably would stay also something with football, like sports-wise, like we're very engaged every time. So, yeah, something in that direction. My wife is doing now also her own Pilates, so.
Oh, okay.
We'll figure something out, but it's not like Amani said, you're just abroad all the time. My wife is in Manila, so if I would choose to retire here, like we would have to look for. But if you're outside, like in Thailand, it's hard to manage something which is back home. Like it requires energy, you know. So
you definitely don't have the time.
it's like holding you back at the time. So like Amani said, it's just like preparing yourselves for when you choose to come back to have something ready. So that's where we at, or where I'm at. So
what dreams do you have for the Philippines? Maybe start with you, Amani.
I think the biggest dream is to see the Philippines playing the World Cup. I think that's the goal, the biggest goal, you know, that Philippines can achieve in football.
Like Amani said, that's a goal. But I think for us, so like as a country, the dream would be like what we touched on earlier, is like to have more accessibility, you know, more grass fields. Probably what we have to do when we're getting older, coaching licenses, you know, to pass it on to youth. What we learn, to have more educated coaching who help young players to develop, you know, so like that all has a progress in developing to make it more accessible, more easier for parents with the spending we said earlier, you know. So that it's education, it's everything. So hopefully we get enough fundings and enough projects to really help the regions, because now it feels like more it's centralized just in Manila, you know. But there's so much talent also in Negros or in Davao.
I've heard some of the best talent is actually in the provinces.
So in Baguio,
maybe infrastructure and accessibility.
Exactly.
So a strong league, a local league would be very, very good for not only for the development of younger athletes, but for athletes, you know, our age or a bit younger who are just seeking to find a place in, you know, the world of football. Because there are a lot of Filipinos now playing abroad. I think 100% of the team.
Right now.
All players are playing abroad. So what if we bring all that talent, you know, back to the Philippines?
Exactly.
You know, make our league good enough, and with all, you know, facilities, with everything pretty much that a footballer, a professional athlete needs, then, you know, maybe we can gradually build from that and achieve bigger things.
Get to the ultimate goal.
It's really...
I mean, if we just need to get everyone to stop playing basketball and start playing football.
And that too.
Well, listen, amazing. Thank you so much for joining today. It's been such a pleasure and my privilege to chat with you today. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. So thank you, Amani. Thank you.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Entertaining.
It was fun. And to you, our listeners and customers, thank you for joining here at Speaking at Money podcast. Tune again next time for more beautiful stories behind success. To never miss an episode, please click subscribe and hit the notification button below. Thank you.